Good morning, Poet fans. Welcome to WCPoets.com and another edition of our Alumni Feature Friday here on WCPoets.com. I'm Lance Franey, Associate Athletic Director for Communications, and joining me today, track and field athlete, class of 2014, Kevin Curbelo. Thanks for hopping on, Kevin, with me today.
Thanks for having me, Lance.
Yeah, so Kevin, great to see you. Again, like I talked about, you're a graduate from 2014. How has quarantine been for you so far?
I think it's been kind of a mixed bag, as probably for most people. The start of COVID, the uncertainty that came with it, and then kind of the limbo of what am I going to do with my time now that we're kind of in mid quarantine, and then slowly now we're kind of crawling out of that. I think it's been it's been a little bit interesting to see how everyone else develops, including myself, through the whole process. So I would say overall, it's been a learning experience. I wouldn't say it's neither here nor there in terms of positive or negative. I think it's, a growing experience for everybody. This is something that was completely unprecedented. Nobody ever experienced anything like this. So it was new for a lot of people, including myself. And I tried to just handle it the best I could.
And how's your family doing with it?
They're doing well. So
Okay.
COVID did touch a few of my close family members, but luckily it was nothing too serious.
Okay.
And immediate family, they were doing okay. We didn't have too many scares on that end, but family overall doing well, so can't complain there either.
Good. Now, are you in touch with some of your former teammates?
Yeah, so I'm in touch with some of them. I would say it's like on and off. A lot of it is usually just seeing what they post and then kind of just messaging them, being like, oh, hey, I like what you did, or oh, like good luck on this thing, because everyone's kind of progressing in their careers now, whether it's either they're kind of going back to sports or they're kind of progressing in their careers. So really it's kind of just keeping touch like that. Obviously over the past year, it was pretty hard to keep in touch. But before that, yeah, I would meet up for lunch and say, hey, you know what, like you're in the area, let's meet up for lunch. Let's catch up, do all that stuff. Yeah, so it's really cool.
Yeah. Now, you're a graduate of 2014. That means we're in 2021 right now. That means you're an older alum now, Kevin.
Yeah.
Take me through what you've been doing since graduation.
Yeah, so since graduation, mostly just been like working, trying to figure out where my spot is in the professional life, if you will. I've kind of done a little bit of everything, mostly involved in the tech side of things. So a lot of startup technology, and then it was startups, and then it went more towards startup in the real estate space. And now I'm actually doing real estate as a real estate agent over in Costa Mesa. So kind of just progressed my career from technology side of things, and I'm now working a little bit more with people, helping them find their homes. So
and you graduated with a degree in business administration, but then did you also go over to China and did some work over there as well?
I didn't do any work in China, but I did do like a summer stint, if you will.
Okay.
That was, I believe, after my sophomore year. I did a semester in my summer. So that was really fun. Went over there after about 1 year of learning Chinese. It wasn't enough to get around, but it was enough to, kind of converse with the locals and, get them, I don't know, they were pretty excited as soon as I said some, caveman Mandarin, if you will. So
Okay.
yeah, they were excited, but it was a good time. Yeah. So I used it a little bit. And then even here and there, some of my friends, they're starting to learn Mandarin. So it's nice to kind of just, chop it up back and forth between us.
Great. And you definitely recommend studying abroad or doing internships during your time over your 4 years attending Whittier?
Yeah, definitely. I would say like as much as possible, because the other thing too is, you kind of have 4 years of like a pass, if you will, you got the college pass. So it's really cool to be able to either do the Jan term somewhere else or do a summer session somewhere, like take full advantage of it, because you might not be able to later on, just because, again, if you're working in a corporation or even just pretty much anywhere, it's like taking 6 weeks off is going to be pretty tough. So if you can do it now, you're going to have so many more experiences. And then also too, when you're talking to people, pretty much everyone travels in some capacity. So it's going to be nice as like even just a conversation starter or even just kind of small talk to talk about traveling. So I would say, yeah, try to get out as much as possible, whether that's during Jan term or summer sessions, or even just like a whole semester abroad. Like I really wish I would have done like probably like a semester, like full on semester, or maybe even like a whole year abroad. That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, you're from right up the road. You're here from Whittier, California. You're a local. You attended Lucerna High School. Did you always want to attend Whittier College?
So No, I would say no.
Okay.
But it's not because of anything about the college. It was just a little bit of lack of understanding of the college space in general on my part.
Hmm.
So I would say, much like a lot of people that were in high school at the time, it was always pushing the big schools, right? You had USC, UCLA, and then whatever other major one that like a Lucerna was kind of pushing, or
Hmm.
like Cal High would be pushing. So it's like, yeah, UCLA, USC were the big ones, and then of course, then it's like the Cal State Fullerton and the Cal State Long Beach were like the big four that they really pushed for in high school.
Hmm.
So really, I didn't really have Whittier on my radar, so to speak.
Hmm.
But what ended up happening was my track coach in high school was like, "Hey, I'm going to be coaching at Whittier College. If you want to stay with me, cool. Like, we can see if you can get in." And then if not, that's fine. Because I applied and got into Cal State Long Beach, and that's where I was going to go.
Okay.
But then I found out my track coach was going to coach at Whittier, and I was like, hey, you know what? I really like track. I'm not really too, at the time, I didn't really have quite a grasp of, like how to properly choose a college.
Hmm.
Um, and then I went over to Whittier College, and it was a great experience. Like, absolutely, like I recommended it. I would recommend it again to myself, just because again the people there, the campus, the resources, and then also on the sports side, D3 is kind of a unique division to be in, especially in track, because even though you're racing other D3 athletes, you're not necessarily just racing D3 athletes, because there's invites and all these other meets that you can go to
Hmm.
race other people. So
Of course.
yeah, I didn't really
Now,
have plans, but then it turned out like that.
yeah. Now, after Lucerna, did you think you were going to continue doing track, or did you just want to go to school and just continue or start your career off?
Yeah, so it was a little bit of both. So I kind of figured that at the time I was quick enough to kind of be, I would say one of probably like I would say like a top 8 on like
Okay.
most given teams.
Hmm.
So I was like, yeah, I'll continue my track career, and I was looking at kind of everything. I looked at University of Texas Austin. I looked at Cal State Long Beach. Obviously, I looked at San Francisco.
Hmm.
Um, that one was actually the San Francisco, I think, University of Arts, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So I kind of just saw what track programs were either had really good athletes, or were kind of in that phase of they had small teams but quick people, or likewise they were in a division where you would have access to
Okay.
faster competitors.
Hmm. Got it.
So
Huh.
yeah, it's kind of how it ended
Yeah.
up happening.
And being a student athlete was great for you, being at a
Mhm.
smaller Division 3 school.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
good. Uh, I think because it was a small school, I think it allowed me to uh, take my time. So this is like the big thing that I think a lot of people might not really understand of um, kind of like what I had going on, is that it wasn't like a day and night kind of situation for me. It was like, I started track in sophomore year of high school. And then since then I was running the 100 meters, 200 meters, doing long jump and triple jump. So I was doing that. And then it was like a progressive build up to the 400 meters. And my first 400 meters wasn't until my freshman year of college.
Hmm.
Um, so from the freshman year of at Whittier all the way to my senior year, it was like a slow build up.
Yeah.
It was very slow. And I think being at a bigger school, I probably would have been pushed to do a lot more races,
Hmm.
and then kind of put myself in situations to where injury is a possibility.
Of course.
Just because, again, if you have someone that could do 100 meters, 200 meters, long jump, triple jump, 4x4,
Yeah.
4x1, like the coach kind of sees that as like, oh man, this is great. We got points on the board.
Of course.
But in actuality, for the athlete, it's kind of tough, because now the athlete's in a situation that they might not want to be in
Hmm.
physically. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think being at a small school is really good. I think from the athletic side, from the academic side, it was also great. Small classes, I think, everybody at Whittier kind of can attest to that, where it's like, I've had classes with 8 other people,
Mhm.
like where else can you get that? And I
Yeah.
still even talk to some of my professors today. So
Okay.
um,
Great.
yeah, small school is great.
Well, you've put together one of the finest 4-year careers for any track and field athlete. You were named to the USTF CCCA All Academic Team 4 times. You were named to the SCIAC All-Academic Team 3 times. You earned All-American status 5 times, 3 in the 400 meter, once in the 4x4, and once in the 4x1. You were also named All-SCIAC 7 times in the 400 meter, 4x1, and the 4x400 relays. And of course, the biggest accolade, being named the 400 meter Division III national champion, the only NCAA national champion in school history. Do you ever look back at this career you've achieved?
When you say it like that, it's pretty intense.
Right?
Yeah, I look back on it, and it's interesting of like what I actually look back on, because it's not only the achievements and stuff, but it's also the small moments, of traveling with my friends and like everybody else on the team, to the small moments of like us just sitting around for 4 hours before our race and just thinking like, okay, what do I have to do, to even just like just hanging out, not really doing much before, race day and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do look back on it, and I kind of think too, it's not just necessarily like what I've done, but I think this is a testament to everybody those few years, right? Because this is a team effort, even though track's an individual sport. It wasn't just me. I had an amazing coach, obviously. And then also had amazing teammates, like they were there cheering for me, rooting for me as well. I was rooting for them. We all had our goals. And even if necessarily people weren't kind of at the level that I was in terms of like time wise, they were still there. They were still like competing, still getting PRs, and like, it was good, and I look back on it and I think, hey, you know what? Like, it wasn't just me. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like, it was literally everybody the whole time I was there. And like, to not give them that credit, I think would be kind of a disservice to everybody involved, because again, it's like, I was, I did all these great accolades, but it's like, the people who were like giving up their weekends, like the coach, my parents for coming out, and the people who, like the other athletes who were just didn't even have to go, like show up, they didn't, some of them didn't even qualify for some races, but they would still show up and, hang out and share their support. So it was really good. And then also Whittier College, like they were very, very accommodating. It was kind of like the whole ecosystem was really good. So I look back on it and I say, hey, you know what? Like, I did really good. I had an amazing support network, and overall, like, I kicked butt, and everybody else was there to kind of help me out, and I kind of try to help people out where I could. So yeah, I look back on it and then kind of taking everything, if you will.
Yeah. Now, the first year when you made it to nationals and qualified, talk to me about that experience for you for the first time compared to the other times where you ended up qualifying.
Yeah. So, I think when I qualified for nationals, it was kind of like, obviously it was like a big deal, right? Because it's qualifying for nationals. But at the same time, I think I was very much ready for it, just because, again, I had, since starting in the beginning of the year, I had been kind of talking to my coach, and we were kind of figuring out, what's our game plan for this year, and then also for the next 4 years. And that's kind of like what I mean with, like, the support network, because the support network, and then also, being in a small school that allows me to kind of grow over time, because since like the day one of me doing the 400 meters, my coach was like, hey, you're going to win. Like, we're going to take you to nationals and you're going to win, and like, I was like, what, like 18 at the time. I'm just like, yeah, like, cool, whatever, like, let's do it. And I was like, I wasn't even fast at the 400 meters. Like my first 400 meters, I think, was like a 49.5, which is like quick, but it's not like nationals quick. So I was like, yeah, cool. Like, let's do it. Like, you're a great coach and you can probably get me there. So my first year, I think I was kind of primed, ready to go. So there wasn't really any nerves. I think for me, it was kind of just another race. But I think what was cool about it was seeing everybody there, like how excited everybody else was too. Because for me, I was like, hey, you know what? Like, this is a race. I got to perform. Whether it's nationals, whether it's a prelim, whether it's a final, it's kind of, I approached it the same way. So then that way I had consistency. And then I didn't have to, like, I guess when I got to the big stage, it didn't really hit me too hard. But again, you practice with the smaller races and you treat them just the same as the big ones. But so I wasn't really, I would say, too nervous or anything like that. I think I just had the normal amount of nerves, like the normal amount of anxiety, like pre-race anxiety. But other than that, I think, I was primed for it. My coach did an amazing job of kind of helping me walk through it mentally before I even got to that race. And it felt good, honestly, coming back home, and I was like, oh, wow, like I could do this. And then we had some pretty fast runners that year. I think there was a runner from Redlands that I think he ran a 46.5, which was, just blazingly fast. And then we had a few other guys that year that were really quick in the same race. So we had some pretty quick talent that year for sure. So they actually helped me, run that fast, because without fast runners, I couldn't do what I was doing. So
yeah. And again, during your time at Whittier, your whole team, like you talked about, that support system you guys got ranked as high as 6th in the country in Division III as a team with that core group of athletes, including German Fabella, who finished second to you in the 400 meter in that race that won you the national championship. Tell me about that experience when you won the national title. People were going crazy, really happy for you. But also you ended up beating German Fabella, who finished in second place at the same time.
So the talent that year was insane. So not only just nationally, but also just on our team. So what I mean by that is that we had German Fabella. He ran in the 46s as well. He has the school record at Whittier College for the 400 meters. Right. We also had Andres Vega, who was also running the 400 meters. And at any given day, he could drop a 46 as well.
Yes.
And, I was running the 47s. So I was like, hey, you know what? I just got to run my race today, because if I don't do that, then, they're going to beat me out. But I think the only reason why I actually won the 400 meters was because that same day we were racing the 4x1. And then we also had, so we had the 4x1 there, and I think we were top in the nation for the 4x1.
Correct. Yeah.
So we were top in the nation going the 4x1. So I said, hey, you know what? This is my ticket to a national championship. I was like, awesome, because I was like, that 400 meters, I'm like, I got my work cut out for me. I was like, I might be able to squeeze it in, but I don't really think I'm going to be able to, beat out these two guys who are just monsters.
Of course.
So, we ran the 4x1, and, unfortunately, we took, I guess we took second, so it's not really too unfortunate.
Well, and technically you guys were leading going into that final leg. And I know there was talks about, German Fabella, who ended up leaving early, and he had to stop with his momentum, which kind of got us in a little trouble at the very end. We ended up finishing second. So technically we probably could have been the national champions in that race as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, so we had German. So this is kind of the team makeup, which is kind of crazy. So we had German Fabella, we had Andres Vega, and these guys were also in the same 400 meters, and they also qualified for the 400 meters as well. So, that's what I'm saying is, we had some talent that year.
Yeah.
And then we also had Kimball Tillman. So Kimball was super fast, 100 meter guy, awesome runner. And then there was kind of just a little hiccup on the handoff, but again, when you get guys that are just, super fast, blazing fast, the margin for error is almost nothing.
Exactly.
So there was a little hiccup, but I think we went from 6th to 2nd. I think German put the hammer down on the last leg, and, he he came back. There was no, you can't even say he wasn't fast, because, 6th to 2nd at a national championship is gnarly. So that was really great. But I think because we lost that race, it gave me the fuel to push in the 400 meters, because in my head, I think, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's everything's kind of rainbows when you're running, but it's really not. When we lost that 4x1, I was like, there goes any chance I had at a national championship, and then I was kind of beat up. I was like, oh man, this kind of sucks. Because now I have to race not only German Fabella, Andres Vega, but also 2 or 3 other guys that had way faster times than me in the 400 meters. So I was like, cool, I almost had a national championship. So I was kind of in the dumps for probably a few minutes. And then I kind of just got mad, and I was like, dude, this sucks. I was like, you know what, screw this. I was like, I have my 400 meters. I was like, I'm just gonna go after it. I was like, forget everything else that I'm thinking. I was like, I just need to go. I was like, I can't lose the 400 meters. I was like, I absolutely can't. I was like, this is going to be my only shot to even have a chance.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how the situation progressed. And I think my mindset shifted into kind of that, like the pre-race mindset shifted. And then when I was running the race, it was kind of just like, okay, cool. I always had a plan. Kind of mentioned that before, is like always had a plan for the race, had the plan for the race. And then I was like, great. I came off the corner and then found myself in the lead. And then I was like, my legs are tired. My body's like seasoned up right now. And I know German's like right on my heels. And I was like, I just got to hold on to the lead, So
yeah,
we're coming off the corner, 125 meters. I'm still in the lead. 100 meters, I'm still in the lead. And I'm just thinking, hold on, like just hold on for dear life, because, right now it's like, it's anybody's game. If I can hold on to kind of the momentum I have, I was like, it's going to be pretty tough for most people to catch me, because that's how we train. We train for that last 100 meters. And then I also know that. And then I also knew German's strength. So I knew German was right on my heels. I said, he can catch me at any moment. And then 25 meters left, I said, oh crap, I'm still in the lead. And I just remember thinking like, oh, I might actually pull this off. And then I was like, okay, let me just keep it going. And then 10 meters left, I'm like, oh, okay, we're here. Like if anybody comes towards me, I was like, I'm diving. I was like, I don't care. I was like, I'm going like straight into the finish line. And then 5 meters, great. And then, I finished first. And then I was just excited, and then I turn around, German's there. I give him a huge hug. Like we're both super excited. And then, the rest is kind of history.
Yeah.
So.
Of course. And what a great experience that you were able to have there, and to bounce back after the hiccup with the 4x1, which was amazing. Now, you arrived at Whittier College. Do you feel that you continued progressing as a runner over your career?
I guess after college or
during your time, once you arrived at Whittier College, do you feel you continue getting stronger as a runner being coached here at Whittier?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's because the coaching staff that we had there, the head coach, I had a sprints coach in particular, Coach Orlando Vega. So he was really great. And so I think, I progressed as best as I could, just because of, I had 4 years, and it was a 4-year plan. It wasn't, a 1-year plan. So definitely progressed. And I mean, you can see it in the times, each year I got progressively faster as well. So it was really great. I had no complaints there.
Yeah. Now, did you ever want to run any other events, or did you want to just go crazy and, to go throw shot put or javelin, or were you solely just okay with running the 400 meter and the relays?
Yeah. So all the time. I always wanted to do other events. Like, I told my coach, I was like, just put me in the long jump. Like, I know I could probably hit, decent jump. I was like, put me in the discus, just let me do a decathlon. And then he's like, no, we're not going to do any of that. We got to focus here. And then we did do a few different races. I think we did a few sprint medleys here and there. I did do, I think, an 800 meter once or twice. But it was mostly for like training purposes. It wasn't really to actually compete in those events, even though I wanted to, just because, again, it's like, you see all the cool stuff going around. People are like throwing javelins, hitting pole vaults. And I'm like, oh, that looks like fun, and then you just try to like do any kind of pole vault and then it just doesn't happen, or you try to throw a javelin and it goes sideways. So always wanted to do other events, but for the most part, I stayed with the 400 meters, did a few 200 meters. But 400 was my bread and butter.
Okay. Now, you were busy at Whittier College. You did a lot. You were involved on campus. How did you make it happen, balancing everything?
Yeah. So when I kind of look back, I'm trying to, I was thinking about how did I also, just run. I was working at the radio station, and then, just school and stuff. And I think really it's just kind of, the classic, time management. But back then I wasn't even thinking of time management. I was like, hey, I have these assignments, and then I just get them done. And then I have practice at 4. And it's like, so basically anytime before 4 or after like 6 or 7, when I got home, I kind of just, did my stuff, handled it. And then just did stuff on time. I didn't really let my papers accumulate. They say it's due in 2 weeks. So then I'm going to do it now. So then I'm not waiting until, 11:58 to submit the paper. So just give myself a lot of time, get things done early, get them done quick, and it's fine.
Of course. Yeah. And, I was the same way, just like you, Kevin, when I was going to school, and I would start my paper early, and you break it down, do your outline, and then you would do different parts of it. So by the time it was due, you'd have everything ready to go. Exactly. So definitely not a procrastinator for sure. So, The last question I have for you, any words of advice for athletes who are attending Whittier College right now, maybe some words of helping them get through college over these 4 years, especially during this time with COVID, or maybe any future recruits who are looking to attend Whittier College and kind of are on the fence of, should I attend Whittier? Any words of advice that can help?
Yeah, definitely. So I think for the athletes, I would probably say listen to what your coach says, follow them 100%, but be an advocate for your own health. Because I think a lot of times, as athletes, we want to always perform, and sometimes we put ourselves in situations that might injure us as athletes. No race is worth your career at the end of the day, or no game is worth your whole career. So again, it's like listen to what your coach says, like 100%. They're the professional; they're there to help see you grow over time. But again, be an advocate for your health. If you're saying, hey, you know what, coach, like I can't do it today, then that's what you got to do. So from the athlete side, do that. That's really great. That's what I did. That's kind of what made the relationship between me and my coach so big, is that, we had those conversations. And sometimes they're not easy, because it's like they train you for months on end. And then, you get to this race and you're like, I can't run today, and they're like, they let out the sigh and they're like, all right, what's up with your body, how you're an athlete. So let's not risk this one for, the rest of the other ones while you're here at Whittier College. So yeah. And then also just for other recruits or just people looking to come to Whittier, I came to Whittier. I loved it. I think it's a unique school, and the professors there are very, very involved with not only you, but also your success at Whittier and then after Whittier. A lot of times, people forget that professors and teachers and things like this are just normal people as well. And a lot of the times they're willing to help you even after college. And, I've developed some pretty strong relationships with some of my professors over the years. They've helped me get work. They've helped me, just realize a few things about just life in general. And also I've helped them out. They've needed some help with certain things that I've kind of gained some experience in. And it was a kind of back and forth, it just becomes, instead of professor student relationship, it becomes like just kind of like a friendship. So no complaints there. And yeah, I know, I loved it. I think it was a cool experience. Everything, from the athletic side all the way down to the academic side. I was about it.
Yeah. Now, are you still running?
Yeah, so I run pretty much every morning. Yeah, so every morning on the weekends, usually about 2 miles. I don't really do anything too sprint oriented anymore, just because, again, it's like, I'm not training for any races or anything like that. But fairly soon here, I'm probably going to end up doing just the classic half marathons. Maybe I'll get into some trail running. I'll kind of see where it goes, because, again, I think I still have that itch to compete in some capacity against other people or myself. So yeah, still running, but just not in a fast manner.
Yeah. And just one quick little side note. I want to know, what is a pre-tournament routine, pre-meet routine for you, or maybe kind of what's some food that you would be eating before you would go race in the morning, like for breakfast?
Yeah. So it depends on when my race was. So let's say if it was before 12, I would just have a peanut butter sandwich, just probably like an hour before I would warm up. Okay. And then if it was after, like, let's say if it was like at 3 o'clock or something, we would just go to Subway, pick up a sandwich. I would eat a whole foot long. My coach told me only to eat half, but I would eat the whole thing. So yeah, I would eat. And then about an hour or so before I had to go and warm up. And then, after, you just eat whatever you want. You just find like the greasiest burger you can find, or the biggest pizza.
Yeah, I always want to ask that question, because some people like to stick to the routine of, this is what I have to eat before, after, during, and all of that. So always want to know.
Yeah, perfect. I've tried a lot of things. I've tried a lot of try to have a full breakfast before. I've tried, like the eggs, bacon, like toast. I've tried a lot of different kind of things before my races. And then I just found, for me, just classic peanut butter sandwich, not even jelly, just peanut butter and then bread worked really well. It was just carbs and protein from the peanut butter. And then it held me over enough until I got to my race. So, of
course. Well, that's some great insight there. Well, Kevin, that's all the time I have with you for today. I really appreciate you hopping on and joining me here for our Alumni Feature Friday. Make sure you continue to stay safe. Good luck with your real estate, work, and hopefully we'll be able to see you at an alumni track meet here soon.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be great.